So, WWE Elimination Chamber. I'm still buzzing. I still can't believe what we saw this weekend as John Cena is a bad guy. And not a bad guy in a, boo, you only have 5 moves, we hate you as a wrestling community, boo. He's a bad guy in a, he kicked our favorite champion right in the Cody Rhodeses. And now we hate you, John Cena. So absolutely buzzing. Oh, Deeds, I didn't know that I had it set that you couldn't send links here. So if you want me to be seeing some stuff, just send them my way, DM me on X or social media platform of choice, and I will see them, and maybe we can chat about them as we go along here. But Elimination Chamber, just a wildly exciting night. Well, tell the bot to come to your channel, and the last was Swift Energy link in the chat. Oh, okay. Yeah, weird. Yeah, like like I'm seeing what Toxic is sending. I'm not seeing what Deeds is sending right now. Although I have seen these last two, so maybe things have just been worked out a little bit. Either way, yes, still buzzing after Elimination Chamber this weekend, and like just basically every like 45 minutes, you think of a new possibility of what they could do with John Cena and The Rock. Like where is this going initially? Where is this going? Like for right now, what are we going to do with this? Obviously, we're on a road to WrestleMania. And so as we do kind of like, this is a Elimination Chamber reaction plus a Raw preview going into it tonight. But I'm fascinated to see where they go with it tonight. WWE has a little bit lately. They'll do a big thing and then we won't get an explanation for a few weeks, and then we kind of just don't get one at all, which is kind of what happened with like the New Day. Like they turned on Big E, and we had this big thing, and then the follow-up was we're just going to get booed a lot, and then it just kind of took some of that momentum away. So I want a really strong follow-up with this one tonight, and I am hoping that we get that on Monday Night Raw. But yeah, like just where does this all lead to, and where does this all go with John Cena and The Rock? Is this a all the way to December thing? Is this a part way to December thing, and then he realizes the error of his ways, and some poor sick kid is, how could you? Or something along those lines. Like where does this ride get off, and where is it taking us? I just, everything of it is so great. And then because the internet is nuts, and because WWE, it does feel like right now, everything that these guys do is with intention. But you are seeing, like, The Rock came out that one time, and he held up the 3 fingers that he did, right? And, I mean, maybe that's, John Cena. But, like, there was that. And then on Saturday, when he does the throat slash thing, he ends it with the 2. And so, does that mean we're getting a third? You know, like that we were at 3, and now 2, and now do we get one more? And I can't imagine that one more is Travis Scott, who, again, as we talked about in the instant reaction pod, just slapped the shit out of Cody on that show, Elimination Chamber. But I still think there might be one more, and like this is such an amazing spot if you want to put an extra guy. Kind of feels like this would be a great spot for a Jacob Fatu, wouldn't it? Like, you would then lump in another story with that. Now, I don't know if, like, it feels like the people are getting behind Jacob Fatu in a real way. And getting, like, there's a lot of, like, babyface love for that guy. And so maybe you kill that, bringing him on with Cena and Rock, or maybe you just add a little bit more likability to that. So maybe the other direction with that is Solo. And then he has turned on Jacob Fatu, and he has now gone with The Rock, and he's kind of the muscle of that group, and gets to kind of build back up into a potential leader again, because it was very clear that there was just too much too soon for him. But either way, this would be a great spot for a young performer to come into that situation. And another thing that I can't get out of my head, because again, everything about this has been done with purpose and for a reason, right? And that's what I was trying to tell you guys around the Netflix thing, when he was being real nice to Cody Rhodes, and we're drinking tequila and all these things, and it's killed the angle. It's like, no, he is being so disingenuinely nice that there is something afoot in this. I have to feel like that appearance on NXT was more than just The Rock is here, and so let's put him on NXT. He has a face-to-face with Ethan Page. Now, if we're expecting a third man, Hulk Hogan this would not be. But Ethan, like this would be a good spot for an NXT call up to kind of pop in there a little bit, right? And have Ethan Page. Honestly, you could do both of them. And we've talked a bit about how the NXT main roster situation or main event situation on the men's side isn't awesome. And so I am now suggesting taking two guys away from that, which is less than ideal. But I mean, that's what they're for, right? So you could have an Ethan Page come up and join as an extra guy with the Rock and Cena and give kind of that rub to another developing character. Ethan Page, I think there's a lot of potential there, and I think he could fit in with something along those lines, although he would definitely be the, like, one of these things is not like the other, but anyone else who you put in that spot, aside from, like, fucking Hulk Hogan, is going to feel a little bit kind of less than, but I think this would be a good spot, and he has that face-to-face with him, and so maybe there is something where Ethan Page comes in, or you bring in a couple of guys from an NXT, and have them come in, and Cody, as kind of his response, brings in a Ricky Starks, who is his guy, and he is kind of believing in that sort of a thing. But also, another thing that you kind of think of with this whole situation, and again, we're just spitballing here. If you were watching earlier, you know that the stuff that makes the train stay on the tracks up top forgot to take today. So we are side questing the hell out of the show. But someone else put out on social media, like Cody got just actually whipped on this show. No one came out. Not one person came out to help him out. And so this still ties in with the Cody angle of, I don't have any friends. Like, all these people say they're my friend, but then I give a title opportunity to Kevin Owens, and it turns into a blood feud leading up to the Royal Rumble to kind of finish out the winter. CM Punk keeps saying that he's got my back, but now, like, two of his arch rivals are attacking me, and Travis Scott, and they don't, you don't come out to help me. So I am all alone. So I need to bring my own friends in. And he brings in a Ricky Starks and brings a couple of other younger guys into the fold to try to build up some of those guys. So I do wonder, like, where is this going? And then where is the counterpunch coming from all of it? Hadid saying there was a post on X where Cody called it disgusting, both of you. But now I can't find it. Interesting. So, yeah, like I'm wondering where the Cody counterpunch is coming from. And then again, the side quests off of this. CM Punk obviously greatly affected by this, right? Because again, he has a thing with John Cena and he has a thing with The Rock. Roman Reigns, obviously, there's a little bit going on there with Roman and The Rock. So how do they tie in to this whole situation? So still so many questions. And I can't wait to see what some of the answers are with this whole thing. Like, I am so invested in all of this now. And then the last one for me is where's the end game with this whole thing? Where does this all end up going? Because this is the last Mania for this one. Unless part of the heel turn for John Cena is like, yeah, I said I was going to leave, but I'm not going anywhere. You guys, it would be like a you don't deserve it, but it would be weird to kind of make it work that way. But it's like, no, I got all this power now. I'm not giving all this up. Are you kidding me? And so he sticks around longer. But you wonder if, like, partway through the year, there's a bit of a clashing, and this ends with the December pay-per-view. That would be John Cena's last. He and The Rock have a face-off, and that's John Cena's final farewell. But you have to think that at some point, like, a John Cena, Randy Orton thing, with Randy being the babyface and John Cena being the heel, would be of great interest to all of us. And again, one of the things we brought up on the Instant Reaction show is Mania's 2 nights. And they did this last year where The Rock got in the ring on night 1. Do we get a Rock Cena tag team on night 1? And who then would be Cody's partner? I recklessly speculated maybe The Rock, or maybe Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out and does that thing. Apparently Stone Cold just had knee replacement, which would make it difficult to do the wrestling thing. But I mean, who's to say, right? But you could get, like, would a Punk come in and do that? Would a Roman come in? Whatever. Like, where do all of these other pieces kind of fall in this whole storyline? This is just so exciting to see where this goes. Because, like, last year, we all knew what direction we wanted it to go in. And that was Cody finishing the story. and then we got taken on what was ultimately a very fun ride to that spot. Now, do people want a heel champion in John Cena? Do we want Cody to vanquish this? Do we want this to go on? Like, there isn't a very clear and obvious whatever. There's a lot of different ways that this could go leading into WrestleMania. So, just so excited to see where all of this ends up going. But that was just one part of Elimination Chamber. Didn't get to a whole lot of this on the instant reaction stream yesterday. So, I want to touch on these now. The Women's Chamber getting a little overshadowed. I thought everyone really stepped up in this match. And now, for a lot of this, the crowd sounded a little bit out of things. But you do recall, like a lot of other shows at the Rogers Center, it is really set up in a way that the sound goes up, right? And that is the thing with big arena shows, is that none of these places are designed for the sound to come right down to the stage. Where, like, again, hockey rinks and stuff like that, like there isn't a lot of room for the sound to go. So it in the arena, it sounds loud. On the TV, though, given how the microphones are set up and everything like that, it is a bit of a different viewing experience. And so I do think that some of the bit of a muted crowd reaction might just be because of the venue. But it did seem like the crowd was a little bit quiet for it. But still, I thought everyone really stepped up. I thought Bayley and Roxy, that was really solid. And I'm still excited and hopeful that turns into a WrestleMania feud, as they haven't really had their big singles blow off type of a match just yet. And so, like, the move where Bayley rolls to the outside and rakes Roxy's hands on the cage just so that she can get away from that crossface, and then Roxy turns it into just ramming her face into it, I thought was just so well done by both on that one. And then I really like, from Roxy's perspective, it took 3 wrestlers to put her out of that match, right? Like, she gets hit on the outside, she tries to come in, eats a super kick, eats a thing, and then another thing, and then she's out. I thought, like, really showing, like, that this is a strong performer, that it's going to take a little bit of work to get out of this match. And so I thought they built that one up very effectively. Jade coming down and attacking Naomi right at the beginning of this whole situation was, I think, really effective. And now again, with Bianca then winning the match and getting the #1 contender spot, how does this factor into everything now? Where does this kind of fall in with the whole storyline? I'm excited to see what direction they go with that one as well. I think there are a few ways to go. You could have, like we kind of talked about last night, where you have Bianca say, "No, I sent Naomi after you. You weren't cutting it. We were going to be losing. You were taking the spotlight, blah, 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 blah." And that turns into eventually maybe even a 4-way featuring the champion. Or it is just a Bianca, or it's just a Naomi Jade thing. Or we get a 2-night thing. Again, there's a few different ways that you can go with that. And again, most of them are interesting. And at the end, with the face-off and Io coming out and getting involved, like, that got me excited as well. Like, if you just did a triple threat with those 3, and it is, you have Rhea, Io, and Bianca in a triple threat match at WrestleMania, sign me up. I think that would be incredible. Or you do a WrestleMania 10, and there's some kind of a whatever. I guess having another qualifying for Bianca after going through all of that doesn't seem fair. So that one maybe doesn't work for this particular storyline. But I do think that there is a lot to be excited about around the women's division right now. And I just think a lot of the ways you go are fantastic. And maybe there's even the Jade Naomi thing is just its own thing. And Bianca is kind of, Naomi, how could you? And then night after WrestleMania, we get the turn, and it was Bianca all along, or something along those lines, right? Like, I keep thinking, like, okay, and all of this gets solved by WrestleMania, but there's a night after, and then a whole year, and scores of them, actually. So there's a lot of your mind just goes, and then to Mania, and then after that, I don't know, but Mania, there's going to be life after Mania, and we're going to have storylines to go with that as well. I thought Liv Morgan was fantastic in this match. I think the work that they put in with her and the work that she has put in this year have really paid off. And this is, like, we talk about this a little bit when we do the booking to Mania thing, specifically, like, coming out of WrestleMania, when you have a year. It's like, what are your projects? And obviously, the project for the WWE after WrestleMania was Liv Morgan. And that has paid off in a very big time way. And then obviously, like one of the other ones was Gunther coming out, and that one paid off. And so this year, I think there are going to be a few, and we'll look at that as time goes on. But it paid off massively with Liv Morgan in that particular situation. Alexa Bliss being back is just so much fun. She gets her character so well, and she puts so much into that, and she's an amazing performer and everything. I'm excited to see where she kind of goes with this and what role they have for her now at WrestleMania. But we'll see what happens tonight with the championship match on Monday Night Raw. The women's champion on SmackDown getting into the fun as Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus took on Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. This match was what it was supposed to be. It wasn't the biggest match on the show or anything like that, but Trish looked great from an in-ring standpoint and just from a I am a human being with eyeballs standpoint. Tiffany Stratton shined, I thought, in this match. Nia was the good heel she needed to, and Candice LeRae had some fun spots as well. And so now, like Trish, I can't imagine she came back for one show right before WrestleMania. I feel like there is something with Trish here. Now, her against Nia, that might be asking a lot, given some of the concerns that come with wrestling a Nia Jax over the years. But you could tell a very good kind of David and Goliath story with that one. Personally, though, like I think having Trish with Tiffany as kind of a mentor would actually be really nice. And like, it doesn't get her, maybe you get her in a match against Nia Jax night 1, and night 2 she is with Tiffany Stratton, or you just stick with Tiffany through the build, because this is really Tiffany's first run as a babyface, and she just happens to be doing it in a title match with Charlotte Flair, probably the most famous woman on the roster, going into WrestleMania. So that's a lot to take on as your first babyface kind of a thing, as you're learning what you are as this character and trying to fit in the, hey, I'm awesome to look at, really athletic, and have this catchphrase that really worked as a heel. But now, how do we tie in these things as babyface without it seeming like you're just kind of a dick? So I think Trish, who was familiar with all of those different scenarios, would be a very good mentor, not only just from a character standpoint, but from a real life standpoint of having her be around and helping out in this build as well. I think that would be a very interesting way to kind of utilize Trish as a bit of a mentor going into Mania season. And then you could even do a heel turn with one of them and a program coming out of WrestleMania. I think there's some ways to go with that. But I think keeping Trish around and helping out a Tiffany Stratton actually makes a lot of sense to me to kind of help Tiffany get her bearings as a babyface character there. Kevin Owens against Sami Zayn in the unsanctioned match. It was what we thought it was going to be. It was a lot of moves that looked like they hurt a real lot, and just a crazy brawl street fight thing. I do think AEW has kind of raised the bar a little bit when it comes to these all violence matches, but by WWE standards, this was great. Quiet crowd again, and I think part of that was, again, just how the Rogers Center is built. It's very cavernous, but also like it's Canada, and both these guys love both these guys loved by the crowd. And so it was always going to be tough to get the crowd reactions that you kind of desired coming out of this one. But some just otherworldly violence, and you get Kevin Owens in there to continue to build things up. And now Randy Orton comes back, setting up what should be a phenomenal build for WrestleMania. I'm a little worried that Sami gets forgotten going into Mania now, because it does kind of feel like he doesn't really have a whole lot on the go. And like, does he just tie in with this Cody thing? And it's Sami and Cody against Rock and John Cena. That, I mean, it's we were talking about Stone Cold yesterday, so that feels like maybe a touch of a step down, but it would be an amazing spot for a Sami Zayn to put him in that kind of a thing, and I think he would fit quite well with that sort of a story. But I just, again, the different ways you could go storytelling-wise with John Cena as a heel, with The Rock, against Cody, and with everything that went on with the Bloodline in the years leading up to it, would be spectacular again. So very interested to see where, again, all of that goes. But I hope that there's a bit more for Sami than a Karrion Kross feud. And honestly, like, I like Karrion Kross. I think he is a very underrated performer. And I think his character work is just chef's kiss, no notes. But it is a little underwhelming. for a Sami Zayn feud for WrestleMania, right? So, like, if he was the night after WrestleMania feud, then fine. But it's just for this particular time of year, I want a little bit more for Sami Zayn. And then the men's chamber match, it was more than just John Cena turning. Like the Priest Drew stuff, I think was really great. Again, I think they did a really good job in this match of weaving all the stories together, and they kind of showed that in the video package where they went to one guy, and then to another guy, and then another guy, and it was all kind of tying in with everything they had going on there. So I thought that was quite effective with what they did with Priest and with Drew. The Punk Rollins stuff gets taken to another level. Where does Roman fit in with all of this? Does it all tie in with the Rock situation? We will see how that goes. But obviously there is something Seth and Punk going on. And like, that was such a... Again, this is where I don't think WWE gets enough credit, because they're doing all these things live. And like, lucky enough in my career that I've been able to go to a movie shoot, and like you go there, and I didn't realize this, but you talk to them and it's like, so how long are you guys here? And oh, like weeks, months, whatever. It's like, man, that's a long time. I'm like, yeah. So what are we getting done today? And they said, well, we're gonna get this page done. Pardon? Because there's a lot of whatever. And they're like, yeah, we're gonna be here for about 8 hours, and we're gonna get about 16 minutes done today, because it's just, okay, you have this thing, but now we have to stop, everyone shut up, and we're going to go to a different camera angle, and we're going to shoot it from this one spot, so we get this one shot, and we're going to go with it that way. And obviously, they're movies. They perfect this. Movies are quite entertaining. I'm not shitting on movies or anything like that, but WWE doesn't have that. They're doing all of this live. And you have a general idea of what is going to happen, obviously, but you still have human beings in a fucking steel structure that you have to get everything perfect. And this was perfect. It is a shot of Punk, and just looks like it's a great shot. And it looks like they're kind of trying to tee up the WrestleMania thing. And then a fucking boot comes out of the air and drives this guy's brain into the steel. And that leads to a finish. That was just, it was art. And WWE doesn't get nearly enough credit for all of that. A couple of notes here. I meant to mention this in the Sami Zayn part, but mentioning it again here. I am a big Pat McAfee fan. I think McAfee had a rough night. I think that, like, he brings so much energy and he brings so much enthusiasm, and a lot of his lines, like, popped my wife. But I just feel like this was an event that needed to be taken just a beat more seriously than what he was doing. And so a lot of the jokes just kind of felt like they were taking away from some really serious moments in there. And so you don't want to neuter this guy, because 99 times out of 100, that's the craziest thing that's ever been said in the history of saying things, is an amazing line. And I'm probably going to steal it at some point. But for that situation where you have something that has been building for 20 years, I don't know if that's the line we want to remember. Like, that's... It's not the Hulk Hogan, you can burn in hell, or one of the God is my witness, he is broken in half. It's not one of those things, right? And so I don't know if you were ever going to get that, but it did kind of feel like it just, a lot of moments tonight, not that you fully took away from them. Like, we're not going to look at the John Cena heel turn as a bad moment because Pat McAfee's cracking wise. But I do think that you could have added to the seriousness of the situation if he was just a little bit more serious in that moment. So a little bit of reading the room would have been good. Another part of this, right now, I don't fully know where Logan Paul fits in. And for a bit, it was fine to have the celebrity involvement and the Logan Paul involvement and stuff like that when you have a good roster and a few good stories, but you need a bit of a boost. I don't think you need a boost. Like, this is a stacked main event scene on Raw. The pretty stacked main event scene over on SmackDown. And a lot of very interesting stories that it just kind of feels like now it's, and Logan Paul. Like, he doesn't feel like the big thing or a big attraction on this show. Like, he feels like a guy who is going to start the show right now. And it feels like having him as a full-timer, I'm sure, helps with views and social media things and all of those sorts of things. But I just like going into now the show of shows, WrestleMania, you have so many interesting storylines and so many great performers that, I mean, it would get them a spotlight. For sure it would get them a spotlight. It's kind of the Shane McMahon thing from a few years ago where I remember on Combat Central, G and I were talking about, like, man, it was AJ Styles against Shane McMahon. Like, I wish for a better thing for AJ Styles. Like, what better thing? This is them showing that they are fully into AJ Styles. It's like, yeah, but it's not, he's just not one of the guys you want to see at the top of the thing. So it was more an anti-Shane thing than they hate this guy. And so I think it's going to be the same thing. Like, whoever gets the Logan Paul match, that is going to be a big match in the eyes of the WWE, but it just feels like I kind of wish he was wrestling someone else, almost regardless of who gets into that particular spot. And now, so for tonight, the push for WrestleMania is on. We have to get some kind of a follow-up to it. And I don't just want a video package. I don't just want The Rock from his cell phone. You can do some of those things, but someone needs to be in that ring talking about what just happened. I feel like that is the big talking point, and it can't just be we are all shocked at what's happened. Here's the video, and we have an update. Cody Rhodes has a lacerated whatever the fuck. This needs to be someone comes out in the middle of the ring and yells at someone. That just needs to be the big thing tonight. So I feel like we really do need some progression on this one very, very quickly. I'm so interested at what the presentation of a John Cena is going to be as well. Like, I feel like it would be cool if he came out to the Doctor of Thugonomics music, but I also think that would get a babyface reaction, and you don't want that anywhere near John Cena right now. So maybe he had another rap song that you could maybe work a little bit. I mean, we know people can boo his song, but like, does he come out? And I think it would be so funny if he wrestled in like tights or a singlet or something like that. Like, just goes all the way away from the character that he was before. Like, he stoically walks to the ring and he is wearing like Stone Cold Steve Austin trunks, or he's wearing like the Kurt Angle singlet or something like that. Like, just everything is different from what he was before. I think that would be a really fun utilization of things. But I mean, like, it's crazy right now to think that we have, we're working on a heel New Day and a heel John Cena at the same time. It's just wild to me. The old tights that he wore for his angle match deeds. That would be, yes, do that. 100%. Bring all that back. That would be good. And honestly, like the spot in the back here, maybe going a little bit. You saw like the NWO meme with that there. Let's go full like straight edge society and just shave his head. I'm giving unto The Rock my hair for some reason. But that would be kind of funny too. Like, just take away everything that made John Cena and put together this weird package that no one wants and just make it that much more heelish. That would be something you do on a video game. That might be a bit of a stretch for a guy who wants to make a movie career after this one. Also, I want to see a little bit more pushed with Penta. We're probably going to have to finish up things with Ludwig Kaiser, but I am really hoping that Penta gets roped in with Rey Mysterio in this thing against the New Day and just kind of give him that platform going into WrestleMania season. So I'm wondering if we get a little bit more on that tonight, but we still have like over a month until we get to WrestleMania. I do want a little bit of advancement in the Intercontinental title picture as well. It does seem like, obviously, Braun Breaker with AJ Styles is at least part of the direction. Finn Balor seems to have maybe been working his way into that as well. And I think having a Sheamus in that neighborhood would be kind of fun, and have him build toward a career Grand Slam at WrestleMania. And then Sheamus could pin Finn for the IC title, and you can move Braun Breaker into the championship fold coming out of WrestleMania as well. Like, I think that there are ways that you can do that, but I think it would be kind of fun to maybe have it go that way. Also, I want some story around the women's Intercontinental title. I wonder if Ivy Nile just wins it tonight. But this can't be another women's belt that the only way we are building it up is we just have a bunch of matches, and hopefully eventually you get invested in some. We need some actual story around some of these now. So I hope we get a little bit more out of that tonight. And we're also getting a tag team title match with the War Raiders taking on the Creed brothers. I think there's a fun story you could tell with Chad Gable's push to get help with Lucha, and then his demands for titles when he comes back. I think there's a fun story you could tell there, win or lose, with those guys. So, should be a noteworthy episode of Raw tonight. Deeds in the chat, have The Rock's music drop when Cena walks out. Yeah, like, have a, just having him have The Rock's music. Also, that, the kind of remix of if you smell what The Rock is cooking and then Fiend hits, that that slapped. Or whatever the kids would say these days. But, I mean, we talked about it on the instant reaction. The aura of The Rock walking up those steps, and he's just jacked coming out. And, yeah, like, Toxic. Personally, I didn't think Travis Scott added anything to the story. That is very fair. Him being there, like, him saging the ring after Cody told The Rock to go fuck himself was really funny. But, yeah, aside from that, like, it was a photo op thing. I do wonder if he comes in as like a manager or something, and like plays The Rock down to the ring like Limp Bizkit did at WrestleMania 19, which will be the last Travis Scott Limp Bizkit comparison for a bit. But I do wonder if you get that sort of a thing coming up at WrestleMania. But I just feel like he was there for a reason. I don't think he's going to wrestle or anything like that, but I do think he was there for a reason. So a lot of big things happening in the world of the WWE.